Hello, hello. It's another fresh episode of Tea with Tay. This season is going, from episode 1 to 2 to 3, we're moving, I love it. Thank you so much, guys, for always engaging me. I know that you guys love me. Today, my guest is unarguably one of the most brilliant minds out of Nigeria. He's a Nigerian media entrepreneur, the co-founder of Red Africa and Joy Inc., and the current host of With Chude. With over 2 decades of media experience, Chude looks like he's just getting started. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Chude Jideonwo on my couch.
Let me tell you,
I am humbled.
I've been looking forward to being on your couch. I'm telling you, let's say your show and Toke's show are actually shows that give real podcast vibe.
Yeah.
So I said when I'm doing it, one of the advantages that I'll finally do.
Yeah.
TBT. So it's good to see you.
Oh my God, Chude, it's so good to have you here. Like, I've been looking forward to an episode. I wasn't sure when we're going to do the episode.
Yes.
But I'm like, one day we'll sit down.
Yes.
But my issue with us is that when you say about talk, they plenty.
Yes.
I don't know where to start
Our
from.
editor struggled with that, our Joy 150. I said make it into 2 episodes. So, it's supposed to be 3 episodes. So your episode was 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So we had 4 episodes.
Don't be
Because
small
we
talk,
We talked. Yeah.
I bet today we could do like 3 hours. Guys, are you ready? Because I know my people would be gagged.
Right. I love it.
To just even hear from you, So, Chude, I was having a conversation with somebody and he referred to you as the podcast person or a podcaster.
Podcast guy.
And I was angry in my spirit. I'm like, what about Red Media? The future? Like, the things that this person did? This person was my mentor at some point. Like, so I know this guy, but all he knew was with Chude.
Yeah.
So, for the sake of this podcast, we need to go back in time and tell the story.
Right.
Okay. Where did it all start from? This Chude. I want to go back as far as you growing up with your mom. Single mom.
Yeah. I grew up in Lagos. Now, because of this, my birthday and my reflections, now I'm filling in the gaps in my childhood. So I grew up very lonely as an only child. And I felt like I was not normal. Like, you're different from everybody else. And my parents were not poor, but they were not wealthy.
Right. Middle class.
Lower middle class.
Right.
Lower middle class. And so in the compound where we were living, we had the second small, it's a compound, Igbo compounds. Yeah.
This was in Lagos.
Lagos. Bakwaguda. Bakwaguda in Jeshatele.
Yeah.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 apartments in the compound, in the complex.
Right. Right.
And we had the second smallest house. So everybody else had like 4 rooms, 3 rooms. So you begin to feel a bit inferior from that. And then I was also shy. So there's also that. And also effeminate.
Right.
Yeah, so there was also that. So a lot of things that made me feel like I was
The other,
yes. I was trying to find but that's it. So for a long time as a child, but I was also, because I was insular, I was reading a lot.
Right.
My father, one of the most brilliant people I ever met, had a huge library. So I had read, Achebe's Things Fall Apart before I was 10. I had read Wole Soyinka's most difficult book, The Interpreters, before I was 10, Kamaralaye, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born. So even if I didn't understand what I was reading, but I was reading and...
But this was a function of the fact that you didn't fit in.
I didn't fit in. That was it. So I went into myself. Up until children's choir. So we hadn't met by the time I turned 30. But my birthday, at my 30th birthday, I had Nathan Abasi ministering, eBay, and all these guys. But the most important part was I called a lady called Auntie Aisha, who was living in London. I flew her into Nigeria for the birthday. Because my life changed because of Auntie Aisha. So suddenly she came in from Jos, I think, or abroad. It was because of how I went to go to Jos. Auntie Aisha was the sexiest, hippest, and I don't even mean just the coolest, that's the word I'm looking for, the coolest, ripped jeans, sexy Hausa accent, cool cars. Her father was wealthy, Dr. Obidi. So Vacoma's church. So she came one day and said she wanted to start a children's choir. Before that, there was Pastor Paul, who had tried to create a children's church. That was my first time of coming out of my shell. Because, I also went to a private primary school, Kekotu in Sole. So my parents pushed themselves to put me in that private school. My father lost his job because I had the experience of being called in front of the assembly and being flogged. So I can
school
send message to my parents to pay my school fees. And I also have the memory, since we live here, I used to live close to the school, of coming late to class because my mother there's a guy that would pick us up to take us and drop us at Bode Thomas. When I come in, then the woman will say, the one big woman sitting there, you were late for Isukulu. Isukulu. So she would say it regularly. So Isukulu got stuck in my head. So I had all this. So all those things led to that feeling of inferiority. Pastor Paul came in, Uncle Paul came in, opened the, and those small things matter. Opened the children's church. So we moved upstairs. So we began to have community and my talents began to show. I think I personally preached in church for the first time on Children's Day. But Antaisha was the explosion. She created a children's choir. Brought us kids praise. It's in our house I watched cable for the first time. It's a house I played video games for the first time. Opened our house. It's a house I used a telephone for the first time. And the telephone then was like, you're finished. You're up. And
you're up there.
And she, so I remember the day that I think my life began to change. So we were doing children's choir. And it's either she asked me to do a dance. So when you do choreography. So she had made us all so happy. And I'm a dramatic person. So, and I started doing the choreography, started doing the back. And everybody started laughing at me also. And it was let's just laugh. And so everybody, shut up. And then she told me to come. And then she put me on her lap. And said, you are now my special son from today or something like that. The confidence is just
change. Change. I can imagine what that scene was like.
It was so if I had a movie about my life, that's the scene that should start it. I can't explain how many things went off in my head. Nobody apart from my mother had created a safe space for me like that.
Acceptance to...
Yes, it was huge. So children's choir was when I now began to explore my talent. So if you ask anybody when I was in school, they'd have thought I would be a singer or an act when I was in church. And so I would take solos in church. I was the soloist. I was acting the plays. Then I would preach in church on Sunday. So,
preach?
Yes. So Overcomers Church is primarily responsible for making my childhood a joy.
Right.
So one Children's Day. So what we would do is that Children's Day now, so they allow a child to preach. After a child has preached, then the pastor will now come and preach the real preaching. We are not playing here. But Bishop N.E. Moses, after finished preaching, he came on pulpit and said, after that young boy has preached, there's nothing to preach again.
Gag.
Yes. Sunday service. And I remember it because that thing was important to me. After that, he called my mother and dashed me 3 suits. Yeah.
For the preacher
walk. The preacher walk we had
to.
So everybody also thought I was going to be a pastor.
Wow.
Yeah. So Overcomers was where my talent began to blossom.
But in all of this, did you know who Chude was? Because you had all these talents. You had all these people suggesting who you were.
Yes.
Pastor, singer.
Yes.
But do you have a clear idea of who you wanted to be? Or also because of how you were raised and the fact that you were the other, right? Did you think that you were brilliant and creative, or you just thought that this was one of the things that I would normally do?
That's an interesting question. I did think that I was special. At the same time, I thought that I was deluding myself. So 2 thoughts were running in my mind at the same time. Looking at it, I'm thinking I'm special. But you can't be special because who do you think you are?
Yes.
2 things happened in my childhood. One was, I remember one day, Onye Konwenu was singing, and I thought he was my favorite musician outside Asha. And I loved the word Onye Konwenu ad-libbed. So I now did one of the reasons why I never did music, because when I was a child, everybody said, you were terrible at it.
Me too.
Exactly. And you're one of the best singers I've ever met. And I tell people, they don't believe me.
Where are they worried after if I did sing for body? They say, shut up your mouth! You're making noise. So I think that stuck with me, and I just never chased that. Yeah. Yes.
So she said, I said, one of my aunties. So I had 2 types of, I had a lot of love as a child, but I've had some people that were mean to me.
Right.
One of my aunties, I said I sing like Onye Konwenu, like a child. She's like, you better shut up and stop deceiving yourself. So, that thing is in my mind, is here locked in.
Chude, please, before you continue, do you know, childhood conversations shaped us till now?
Of course now. Of course.
I mean, those little jabs,
Yes.
those little things that they would throw around.
Yes.
That shaped us.
Yes.
That made us feel insecure.
Yes. I write about it in my book, chapter 1. That's the childhood. I talked about how the mind of a child is like a clay. Anything you throw inside gets stuck in there. And the child doesn't know the difference between big or small or big. Child doesn't know the difference. Everything is outsize. And 10 people can tell the child you are brilliant. One person says you are daft, and that's the one the child takes. That's one of the reasons I'm so afraid of raising a child. First of all, my mouth is sharp.
Speaking, I'm laughing from experience.
You are aware, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm always, so I know. So children, it's so, parenthood is such a serious matter.
Yeah.
Because you can really damage a child. So
there was
that one.
Damaged adults.
Yes, yes. And it's all from children, just all childhood. And then the worst damaged ones are the ones that if you tell them this, they'll be like, what do you mean?
Yes.
Those are the damaged ones.
Those are the people I want to talk to. But I have a recent obsession with trauma. Like, I want to have trauma conversations. Because I feel like all the adults that I meet, that some certain behaviors, this is from child. Let's investigate this thing.
Yes. I say to people that Nigeria has been ruled by a succession of broken men.
Yes.
And part of our problems, but if you say they will not listen to you, they say we need true federalism. I'm like this. How can you have true federalism with a person that thinks that he's the most wretched of all inside himself and he's in power to cover it? It's just...
Actually, this is go too deep for... Oh, my goodness. Let's go back.
Right. So that's stuck in my mind. And I remember so my mother was very kind and very generous. So people used to come to the house. And this same auntie, it's weird. So she's always asking my mother to ask me for money these days. And my mother is always struggling. Because with anybody, I'm very easy. So the other day I realized that when I hear her name...
You don't want to...
But so I give grudgingly, which I never do. So I now remember that, of course.
Now she talked this thing.
And I didn't even think of it consciously because I have too many negativities from her.
Yeah.
So I remember one day I was in church, MFM headquarters in Onike. And I was sleeping. So it didn't even say how see God. I was sleeping and these two women abused me and my mother. We didn't hear until they were fighting in front of my mother.
This your aunties?
These two aunties. One of them is not an auntie, one of them is like a church auntie.
Yeah.
And this same auntie. So apparently one of them had said when I was sleeping in church that Sister Ngozi get your number. Which means that Sister Ngozi would think that this one is a child that she gave birth
to. Sorry. What? You have lived.
I swear to God.
I can imagine the scene.
Yeah, so my mother was the one. So they were quite. But you said this about her. So I was just listening. And this thing's talking. I don't remember anything they said. I remember Sister Ngozi get your number. So, those kinds of small
God.
things.
And they were registering your system.
Oh, registering. So I think you asked me about whatever question, those things happen. Yeah. So I didn't even begin to confront myself. It's very late in my life, actually. Very, very late in my life.
I think you did the work later in your life.
Very late in my life.
I'm going to get into that conversation, but I want to talk about the relationship with you and your mother.
Yeah.
Because your mother is your person. I've seen how you guys, I feel like it was both of you against the world at the time.
Yes, it was.
But when your father passed, I don't know how old you were. How old
24.
were you? You're 24?
Yes, I was older. Was it older when my father passed? Yes.
So I'd assume that she had been raising you since your teens.
But my mother raised me by herself.
Right.
My father paid for stuff. And my father, there are men, there are people that are not, I don't think my father, two things. Either my father was meant to have, my father was made to have kids. So that makes me respect him the most. You see, I have a lot of empathy as an older person now. I now understand why men run away when the women give them children. I'm not saying it's right.
Yeah.
I understand the panic.
Yes, the panic.
The panic. And I now respect my father a lot for overcoming the panic. And
doing the barest minimum.
Yes. Even that one, he tried. He tried.
So on that angle.
Yes. He was not emotionally
available,
strong enough. He couldn't do it.
But it was just one child.
He couldn't do it. My mother said to me many years ago when I was desperate to get my mother, and when I brought a woman home, and I said, but you cannot handle emotional pressure. Like you and your father cannot handle emotional pressure. this one go use fight key.
And you will shrink and
And
shut
you
down.
will shrink, and I knew what she was saying.
Yeah.
So my father was highly sensitive, highly sensitive, highly sensitive. And there was no context or language existing around the culture at the time for him to understand what it was. None. So I think just the whole weight, and my father had a very fraught relationship with his own father. My grandfather was a highly accomplished man. You know, when you're reading law, one of the first cases you read is about my grandfather, Jideonwo versus Ambrose Ali. It was a constitutional law case. And it was huge in Delta State. It was, I think there was an official lawyer for the Delta State governor and all those things. And my father grew under his shadow. And he always felt that my father was too sensitive my father was not the go. My father was more the gentle type, the poetry type, the literature type. And so I don't know much about that, but I think that I always heard about that dynamic.
Yeah.
So my father was not, I don't think that he was ready for children. I think he just became an adult and did his thing, which makes me admire him more. I think my mother was compassionate about that. She was compassionate. My mother loved my father very much, even if he was a very flawed man. I don't say flaw.
She
stood with him. And so so my father, I'm just coming to terms emotionally with my father. So typically anytime my father is mentioned, I tear up.
Right.
I never understood it. But I feel like my father didn't live his life on his terms. He kept moving from responsibility to responsibility. And now I have the emotional resources to engage him. But he's gone.
Yes. Yeah.
So I feel like he had unfinished business. And people who know me always talking about my father. Agatha Amata, anytime she talks about my father.
But she knew your father.
She knew my father. You know, so my father was extremely sensitive. I think that's where I get my sensitive side from him. My mother is a strong one.
Quite.
You know, I don't think, I was saying there was an interview that a celebrity gave recently. I don't think I ever saw my mother cry. I never saw any of them cry, but my mother was the strong one. She knew that she had to be the strong one in this thing. So my father passed when I was 24. By that, he did everything to secondary school, university. He took care of his responsibility. And he took care of me even after he had died. Because when my father died, I realized that he had saved up so much for us. My first trip out of Nigeria was from my father's will.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Bless him.
I'm telling you, that impressed me. That's what it means to be a man.
So he had saved up for you and your mom?
I had 5 million in First Bank. I had millions from one insurance company. We just had money everywhere. And my family, my father's siblings are all well-to-do. So no quarter over the money. In fact, I didn't spend a kobo on his burial. His brother took over everything on Kongozi. So, which Ikenna...
son of...
Yes, sorry, this is backstory. Yeah. That's why Ikenna is dear to me, because his father took care of everything after. So that's my father.
Right. Okay, I want to talk about the Chude who at 15 was already working. Because if you ask me, your mother would have been comfortable if you didn't work.
Yes.
Because you're your only child. She would have provided everything that you needed.
Yes.
Was it the otherness that made you get into the world of work? Or was it just something did you have like lofty ideas or dreams to be this person that you are now? And that's why I started working on time. Like what was driving you to work at 15? Because the stories that I've seen or heard of you, you're already holding down shit in your teens.
Now I can say that. Now that I've entered now that I've turned 40, I'm owning
the fact
my whatever.
25 years.
Yes, I'm actually owning it. Because I will see myself answering questions. And I'm like, I would never have spoken like that. I'd have done the whole fake humility thing, modesty thing, or maybe not fake, but humility. But it's not humble to lie about who you are. It's just a lie. You tell your own consciousness. So, yes, it's good that you listed those things. Those things, I used to say, I don't know what it is, but it's a mixture of everything. This I know. I was a very ambitious teenager. I don't know. I was very ambitious. I wanted to be everything.
Were you trying to prove something to the people around you?
Probably.
Is it the two women from that scene?
It's also possible.
Were they your head fights like,
I don't know.
You people, I will show you.
I don't know. Therapy has uncovered a lot of things from my
Yeah.
memories, but it hasn't uncovered that. I don't know. I think maybe because I've not discussed it in therapy because I've not had any issue with that part of my life.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right.
So we've not, but it's entirely, I think part of it was maybe I have a very rich inner life, very rich imagination, very rich, visioning.
Yeah.
So I think that being insular and being rejected forced me to go inside myself.
Yes.
And inside myself, I found very rich resources. Yeah, I think so. That's what must have happened. But I just remember how ambitious. I hated school because school was delaying me.
From the goal.
Yes. Just like, can we just finish this rubbish? If I was born now, I wouldn't finish school.
Are you serious?
There's no way now with Instagram, podcast, blog. I'd be like,
there's so much to learn from, yeah.
What are we doing here? This is a waste of my time.
Because if I'm being honest with you, my 4 years of history,
that's what I'm telling you.
I don't remember witty.
Nothing.
Useless. I've not gone back for the result. Like, it's just, I'm just like, now that I'm done, Mama, you don't say I go to school like this.
Pack it.
Let's face career. I've learned more from the streets
than
from people,
anything that was taught.
From conversations than...
Yeah, of course.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. If I was born in this, if I was Gen Z, I wouldn't have gone to school. I would have finished school.
But Chude, you're
very probably.
They're coming from lower middle class.
Yes.
But where did you get the audacity, especially because you didn't fit in, right? Where did you get the audacity to think that you will be ambitious and you'll still be able to get these things? Or was this just blind faith?
I didn't think I was going to get this thing.
But let me just try, Sha.
Yes. I have, so like my COO, she's watching me in motion. So Sheon Oluyemi, my former producer,
right,
said, just watch CJ.
Yes.
So because the past 5 years I've been calm.
Yeah.
Let's just listen. And after that, we said, this is not possible. I mean, we're going to get
this is not possible with Chude Jideonwo.
I'll tell you, even me, I'm watching myself because I said to her, I told you the guest we are reviewing tomorrow, let's invite this person. And I don't know how. I don't know anybody. I'm like, it should not be difficult to invite this person. She's like, well, how do we start?
She's one contact away.
It's one contact away. And so I called and I said, I know the person. I called my second mother. When I got the confirmation today, she was stunned. We're going to we're putting up our billboards, Alcon approval. So our partners, great guys, they couldn't get, I'm like, it should not, Alcon approval. I used to own an advertising agency in this country. How can it be difficult to get Alcon approval? I said, you know what, let me know if by 7 o'clock we've not got the Alcon approval, we'll find a way to get it.
Right.
She didn't say, you
didn't want me. Because she don't work with us that time. She
don't know.
Even before you became this person, you were already moving mountains. So now it's a phone call away. There's somebody that knows somebody.
So it's even easier now.
Yes.
So, but what I've always believed is go try. What's the word? Write the letter. The first time I entered Aso Rock, all we did was write a letter to Umaru Yaradua. We have the Future Awards. We'd like to come and present it to you. We got an invitation.
That kind of audacity.
Yes.
I need it now.
All we did.
So you just wrote a letter?
That's all we did. That is, I want people to believe it.
Yes.
So I want to say to God who made me. But they have to believe it because Dr. Ruben Abati went with us.
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody in Aso Rock.
But I have to commend you for that because I borrowed some of that audacity when I started my career.
Yeah.
Because the things that people used to find very, like, you brought this...
Exactly, you'd be like, what is this?
I've worked now. What is this? It's not a big deal.
Yes.
But I don't think that I would have gotten that audacity if I didn't see it in motion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. So I've always been like, I have to try. Like if I don't try, I will not know whether it is happening or not. And I'm like a cockroach when it comes to trying, even though I don't like the cockroach analogy. But I just keep showing up.
Right.
That's what has brought me here.
And I feel like more success is you now, it's like a muscle.
Yes.
You now be more confident to say, even if this doesn't work, something
will come out of it. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Red Media. You started Red Media at 15 or 16?
No, started Red Media, I was 19. Debola was 18, Emilia was 17.
First of all, let's talk about you and Debola. Yes. I keep telling people that Debola is the yin to your yang.
Yes. Debola literally is, yes.
Like, God, when God was pairing, God said, you know what? These two cross paths so you guys can become unstoppable.
Yeah.
How did you meet Debola?
Oh, beautiful story. So I was a production assistant volunteer. Well, unpaid production assistant on Inside Out with Agatha Amata. And no, was I already? But anyway, I eventually became that. So I don't remember whether I was already a production assistant, but I was they used to have a studio audience. It was an audience show. So I used to go as an ambitious young man now. What did I do for hours? So I would go and be one of the audience members. So one day, Debola was sitting by my side. And the debate was sex before marriage. Should people have sex before marriage? And I think I was for sex before marriage. No. Debola was for sex before. No, I want to believe. I wish I was.
It's you that should have been sex before
marriage. I really
marriage.
wish so, because that's I like to be contrarian. And so we were on both different sides. And so we're arguing. So we're arguing. So we're debating. The thing was on the table. We're arguing on our chair. And I realized that this person was smart.
Right.
And I think he realized the same thing. So we fixed a meetup after that. And in turn, he was working for a counselor called Jerome UV at the time. So already he was like me. He was already working.
Yes.
Himself and his partner at the time, Emilia, were already doing a show on NTA called Youth Talk.
Amazing.
At 18 and 17.
At 18 and 17.
Yes. So
this ambition. Yeah. So I know that I'm ambitious.
Yeah.
But you guys,
we're very ambitious. So that I've learned to own it.
So how did you know that unpaid work will get you access?
I didn't know.
One of the things that I learned from you was that if you work, you get access.
Yes. I didn't know.
Because you're the only person I know that can settle on an unpaid job. It will never make sense to this generation.
Yes,
why
it will not.
I work for free.
Yes, it won't. And sometimes they have good reason for that. But it's like me, I don't allow people to do unpaid work with me anymore. Because sometimes they cannot differentiate between the person that is using them and the person that's trying to enable them.
Yeah.
And to be honest, money is not a bad thing, so you might as well add money.
Right.
But I don't know. I just knew that the alternative was not better. So, okay, I don't have paid work. To choose between unpaid work and no work.
I would rather
think that unpaid work is better. Just basic common sense.
Because you can grow value from unpaid work.
Yes. So that nobody even taught me that. That was just apparent to me. That what am I going to be doing at home? You know? So that was it. So I did that unpaid work. That's how me and Debola met. Then we became friends, introduced me to Emilia. We were all friends. We had this great we're ambitious, so you know. And one of the legacies of that ambition, I mean, there's so many legacies. Robin Mines is a legacy of that ambition. The Future Awards is a legacy of that ambition. So these are things that started in our teens. And
so you and Debola went to register a company together at 19 and 18?
Yes, so we registered a business name. We didn't have enough money to register a
What
company.
did you call it first? It was Red something?
It was Red. So it was Red Strats.
It was 2 or 3 of you?
3 of us from Red Strats. Yes, we didn't have enough money to register for a company, to register the business name.
Did you have a vision for the company?
Yes, we had a clear vision. We wanted to be the number 1 youth marketing company out of Africa.
But what experience of marketing did you guys both have?
None.
That's my issue.
Yes, none. But we built it as we were going. So that's why I realized that I've worked for everybody. So I was just thinking that it was then that we worked for Ambo. We did digital marketing for Ambo. Digital marketing for the company that became Airtel. Digital marketing for Golden Ultimate Search. So we're just moving. We used this one to raise to pitch for this one.
So if you didn't have any experience, how were you getting these gigs?
Because I was already working. Remember, so I started working at 15.
Right.
So I'd worked in New Dawn. I'd worked with Sunday Show as a presenter. That's also part of why. So I had a long CV. Before I was 20, more than half of it was free work.
Right.
Yes.
But there was a CV.
Oh, I used to be so proud of my CV. And even now, if you go on my LinkedIn page, I put the work from them because I'm proud of those ones. You know, I was writing for a law magazine called Takai while I was in the University of Law of Lagos.
Did you guys have a regular? I don't think you guys could have had a regular teenage life.
No.
When you were building companies at that time.
What is a regular teenage life?
Like going to a party,
a
rave, as of today.
No such thing was happening. In the night, we were busy posting poster on Maryland Bridge.
You know something that still happens to me now?
Yeah.
When I'm out having a good time, I feel some level of guilt. Like, have you achieved? And I feel like this is a you problem. You have passed this thing to me.
I don't disagree with you.
I went to a rave. It's called Sunday Service. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, I like the name.
Gen Z, nice vibe.
Right.
I said, they do. I used to think, say, okay, I'm choosing Chude on Tuesday. And like I did calculate my brain for a whole hour. I had to snap out of it. Like,
Yeah, and enjoy the moment.
like I was receive peace.
Yes.
But I feel like it's that thing where you're so ambitious.
I was so ambitious.
So I can imagine that time 18, 19-year-olds who think that, you know what, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
They don't have time for
I didn't have
frivolities.
I
As my
don't
granny would call
consider
it.
school a frivolity. Like the real world is happening out there. So I didn't used to attend class. One of my best friends is my lawyer now, Joseph. You know, we did all kinds of things together. We cannot say it's in the public in terms of.
So how did you
meeting
pass?
the minimum attendance requirements? I didn't pass. Let me tell you. In nightmare I used to have until 2020. I don't know what made it stop. I was having this nightmare consistent from when I graduated till 2020. I have a nightmare. This is a real life thing. I have a nightmare that I got into the exam hall and I remembered nothing. I have this nightmare constantly.
I've been there.
And the reason is that I didn't used to go to class. I didn't used to read until the night before exams.
Me too.
Yes. And going to exam, I would be panicking. Like, what if I forget what I just crammed? So yes, that's how.
Because that law where you do, I do.
Right.
And I would be jumping around doing modeling, doing whatever until 3 days to.
Yes.
I'll now come and cram Khalil and Kabalik. I said, you gotta go to Shakespeare, constitutional law. What does it say here?
Yes.
Do you have the time, eh? I don't know how God carried me. That I
Do
don't.
this. Yeah. Because
I was smart. So I could use English,
smart,
but I knew that, like, when I made peace with myself was when I realized that I'm like, seems like you're smart, but this law requires a lot of attention.
Yes.
And I didn't have that. I wanted to become something.
Yes. I mean, yes.
So I don't know. I was saying, how did you pass? Because I had to go to history.
I came up with the third class.
Really?
I came up with the second class. Lower.
Right. How did you even enter in law? That's so hard to even get.
Yes, it's actually hard to get. So my friends were very impressed. My friends say, if you had read, you would have gotten a first class.
That's what they were telling me.
Yes. So I mean, I don't know. I did it. I feel like if you had stayed in law, you would still.
I would have been miserable.
Yes. So you've been miserable. So I remember my final year, I was exhausted with studying law, and Ifeanyi Ozako of blessed memory, who was our lawyer pro bono, was an exam. He says, "Oh, Chude, so you're not going to read." Debola said to him, Debola said, "No, Chude will do whatever he needs to do." So he will pass.
Amazing.
And that was my spirit. That's my spirit. So I barely passed. I got a third class in law school. That third class was like a first class to me.
How so?
Law school, I was doing the same thing now. I did for class. They listen to music for earphone.
No lie.
I swear to God.
But I would assume that with who you are as a CEO and how we worked under you, you'll be by the book.
So I was doing other things because when I was in law school, I was working for Big Brother. I was already PR person for Storm Music.
So you were already having it. Your life was already happening.
Yes,
so
I was busy with my life. The school was the distraction.
Jehovah.
But I didn't want to repeat anything.
Yes.
So I just said that I had to finish the school.
Right.
But I told my parents, I said, I'm not going to graduate the first class. I told them first year, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to choose school.
What did your mom say about it?
Of course, she wasn't happy about it. But I remember when the Future Awards was hosted in Aso Rock by Goodluck Jonathan. So I remember saying to my mother, do you think it would have happened this fast if it was law?
What did she say?
I don't remember.
But I think with your mom, I don't think she's ever been forceful with you.
Never.
It's always been loving.
Never. My mother was the mother made for me.
Tailor-made for you.
Tailor-made. She understood. She'll put pressure, then stop at the right spot. Because she knows that this speaking,
it could tip him.
It could just say, no, you do it, wrong, come off house. My mother was perfect. I said to people, the reason why I think one of the reasons I'm still a Christian is that when I was 18, my mother said to me, okay, choose which church you want to go to. But I think you should stay with me in MFM. She didn't finish saying it before I wrong. So, and I love MFM. I have some good memories.
Right.
But the same thing, yes, my mother was like that. So my mother is the same thing. Everything she would not push. So everything I did, there was no resentment. Because all she did was she made the case and left the decision to me because she's a teacher. So I think she understood. She was excellent with those things.
Let's talk about Red Media.
Right.
I think that's one of the most brilliant companies ever created. I feel like I tell people that Red Media might not have been as popular as maybe the insights and co, but it was like a hub for young people who had talents. And one of the things I respect about you is that you never chose people based on CV.
What
Once you spotted talent, you like, come in, we'll groom you here.
Yeah.
Was this a function of the fact that you and Debola also were not conventional?
It's possible. It's possible. I don't know. It's very possible.
And did you ever think that Red Media was going to grow to the extent that it did?
No. Of course, I was ambitious, but I didn't think so. Because, people no longer like aspire to perspire. But we started Red Media with 0 naira. We started it's like we didn't have money. I remember one day we went to post. I said one of the days we went because we got media partnership from DigiPrints, I think, and we're going to post flyers ourselves for the First the Future Award. So we went in the night at 11 p.m. Me and Emilia, a 17-year-old, to post our posters ourselves on the bridge. And then when we finished, we now got to Ojo Elegba around after midnight, and money had finished. So Emilia's mother had to drive from the house at night, to pick us from Ojo Elegba bus stop. And so she picked us. This is crazy. Now, so our parents were not poor, but we didn't know whether this thing was going to succeed. So we never asked them to contribute.
So in case it failed.
In case it failed. That's what it was. We never, anytime my parents offered, we say no. Because we don't know. Leave this one because we know if we pay school fees. At the end of because I was in university.
Chude, I need you to give me the Red Media story, but before the Red Media story, I want to talk about Future Awards. How do 3 young people in their teens think that, there are young people like us who are doing great things, so we need to award them? Where did that idea come from? Who sat and said, you know what, this is what we should do. This is one of the brands that we should establish.
Well, let me tell you what happened. We were in Muson Center, 3 of us. We were watching a play. The play was boring. So we were at the back. So we just turned the chair around, backed it and started talking. And suddenly we talked about the Future Awards. We backed, I remember Debola back. Debola is very bold. Backed the hall. And suddenly we said, okay, so we've been having an idea. We're thinking about media products to create. And so we just said, what about an award? I think I had the idea of an award somewhere in my brain. But that's where the idea came from. Okay, so, and that's how we came up with the Future Awards. I cannot tell you where the idea... Okay, no. I remember that I was very fascinated by the This Day Awards. And I liked the glitz and the glamour. But it was also a serious affair.
Yes.
And I remember that I had the idea that so you can have fun for something that is for national development. So I know that This Day Awards, because I was a creative director, so I designed the Future Awards.
Right.
And I designed it and inspired by the This Day Awards. In fact, this is the first time I ever remember calling it in public. So we had something called an independent audit committee to judge. It was from This Day I learned it. Because I think Olisa Agbakoba was the chair of the independent audit committee. So I just like how sexy This Day brand was.
Yeah.
So I don't know what led to the Future Awards specific, but we had discussions and we were saying, what is the thing? So our challenge was we want to combine entertainment with development.
Why were you guys obsessed with development at that age?
Honestly, I don't know. And if somebody else was saying this, I'd be like, Yemo, but I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, because I can say from my end, it was Fumi Yonda's influence. But Debola and Emilia already had the same inclination. So I don't know where it was
Where did they get it from?
I don't know. I think that different children are raised up with different inclination. And my inclination just happened. I guess that's why we could work together.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because we had some people who were with us at the beginning, they left us. So I think for some reason we just had an inclination. I know where mine came from, I think. My father, like I said, was a reader, was bright, he was political, he was teaching me about Haile Selassie when I was... So I think from a young age, I already kind of had a sense of how to change the world. Fumi on that show taught me that the media could both entertain
and educate,
and the life change and educate.
Yeah.
So I can't find many of the things are a mix of things.
Yeah.
Parents as foundation, then you now begin to attract. I think that's where it came from.
So please tell me about the Red Media story. And because if I decide to ask questions about Red Media, we'll sleep here, right? Yeah. Please lump it up for me.
Okay. This is how Red Media came. We came together. We're thinking about what to do. What should we do together? We liked ourselves. We thought we said, okay. So as we're still friends, Fumiyonda turned 33. And so on my birthday, I posted a surprise birthday party that Fumiyonda had done for me. She used to do surprise parties for her staff. So on her birthday, I didn't want to just deliver a cake. So I said, this was in 2004, I think. I said, we're going to do a surprise birthday party for Fumiyonda, and Star Plus was going to perform, and T.Y. Bello was going to perform, and all of that. And so we surprised her. And so I asked Debola and Emilia to help me organize the birthday party.
Right.
We organized a badass birthday party. All the celebrities were there. T.Y. Bello was there. Rebbe Lagos was there. I think Two-Face. Celebrities were shot there.
Yeah.
So we finished doing this event. We said, wait,
this is a bucket.
We can actually form a company and do events.
So it was events?
Yes, because we got media partnership from La Campagne Tropicana. They used to have a space in Adeni Jones. We got musicians free of charge. Everything, we got food. Sahito was a media partner, gave us food. We got drinks. So I think that was the microcosm of the future. We were amazed at what we could accomplish in 2 or 3 weeks. So after that, we said we can form a company and we can do more things.
You guys are so ambitious.
We're very ambitious. We're very ambitious. So very ambitious. Ambitious.
So the company itself started growing by itself, right? Fast forward to you guys. I think one of the biggest things that at the time when I got into the company was that you guys had done the presidential campaign.
Yes.
Please, I want you to take me back to the moment where you guys got that account,
right?
Where you guys were paid for that gig.
I love it.
And when it sank in that, you know what, we did this.
So I have to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
It started when I received a phone call randomly from the presidency in 2010. Random phone call from Oronto Douglas. So, we had gone to Aso Rock. We had met with Jonathan because Umaru Yar'Adua told the vice president to meet us. Yeah? But that's all we did. We didn't know anybody there. So that was the end. So I didn't know that Jonathan was going to be part of my life again. So randomly, after we had done the Enough is Enough Nigeria protests, another long story, I got this call. I remember that place where Maryland Mall is. I remember because it was a call that changed my life. And I just passed that Maryland Mall side. There was a new LOJ Holdings building. And I received a call. Hello, my name is Oronto Douglas. I got your number from Peace Fiberesima. I'd like to meet with you. I'd like you to work with us in the presidency.
Ashamalaka.
So I packed first.
Yeah, before. That's where you're coming from.
I packed first.
You first speak in tongues to be sure to lock it in the spirit.
Lock it in. So he invited me to Abuja, puts me at the penthouse of the Transcorp Hilton.
Rabadosh.
That's why, I wrote in my book later that it is very difficult to see Nigeria's problems from the penthouse of the Transcorp Hilton.
I want to read that book!
Because I remember looking out from
the reality is different.
I'm just like, poverty is a bastard.
Bastard! Judy, you were so removed from everything.
Yes, Oronto was so good to me. And he just thought I was a bright young man. And he wanted me to, he wanted me to do some work for the presidency. We got people into a hotel. We developed a 10-year strategic plan for youth involvement in government. Then after that, he now asked us, I'm very impressed. Can you do presidential media work for the presidential campaign? Because after that, Jonathan, maybe that was the plan all along, I don't know. But after that, Jonathan now said he was going to run for president. Because that time we're not sure, was he going to run, was he not going to run? So can you do media work? I'm like, when I got my first job after school was as an assistant manager at Virgin Nigeria.
Right.
The interview, they asked me, can you use Excel? I'd never seen Excel in my life. I said, but of course, I have proficiency. In then this is the difference. The next day, I went to learn Excel. So that's the difference.
This was always you. Never said no.
No, I never said no. Like, it's not Excel, we're going to learn it. So I said, oh yes, I'm proficient in Excel.
So wait. Where was fear in all of this? Because somebody had offered you the presidential campaign, strategy for it. I know you guys have been doing work before, but truly it was the presidency.
Oh no, let me tell you the thing. I've never been afraid that I cannot do the work. I've always been afraid that I might not get the opportunity.
Say that again.
I've never been afraid that I can't do the work. I've only been afraid that I will not get the opportunity. Never been afraid. I don't know where that comes from. I've never had imposter syndrome.
Stop.
No. I've had all kinds of things. I'm vulnerable now.
Yes.
I've had depression. I've had all this. imposter syndrome I've ever had. I've never thought I didn't belong from my adulthood.
Right.
Maybe as a child.
Right.
I never thought that there was anything that I would not be able to do. I remember when we did the adverts for the presidential campaign, when we did the advert copy, Debola said, Chude, are you sure we can deliver? I said, advertising, what are they doing? I will write the copy.
Wallahi.
I'm telling you, never worry, never. I don't know where it came from.
So when you got the gig, you had already
I had visioned it. I had visioned it. I'm telling you, and I've never.
You're going to deliver on this.
Yes, I was not afraid. My only afraid is that are they going to pay me the money they promised us? Just let me tell you, I wasn't afraid. I was not afraid that I wasn't going to do the work. Maybe if I was a pilot, but this media work, is that what we started doing?
Is it the experience that shapes you like this?
I think so. But also
all the years of free work and
all the years of free paid work. But I've also done everything. There's no media work I've done. So when I'm doing my show, as I'm doing the show, I'm thinking about the press release.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about how the YouTube headline is going to go.
Yeah.
I think how we're going to edit it. As I'm doing the interview there, as I'm listening to the guests. Because I've done all those things. So it's coming naturally to me. Like, the program is going to start from here. Do you understand? So that's because I've done everything.
The events, everything.
There's no job in the media that I think I have not done.
So when you're doing your own thing.
Yes, it just all comes together.
Oh.
It all comes together. And so I've never, when it comes to media narrative building, all these things, I've never been worried that I wouldn't do a good job.
Let's come back to
Red Media. Okay, no. Yeah.
This campaign.
Right. Okay, yes.
So you guys go
so we
on to
did it.
deliver.
So we do the. So he says, yes, we can do the campaign. So we do the campaign. He was so impressed. So impressed. So they gave us more money than we even planned. After it offered me a job in government, I said no. Why I said no? Okay, no, I've always known.
Sorry, let's dial it back. The money.
Yes. The money was good. It was great money.
Don't worry.
Yes.
You don't need to tell me.
Yes, it was great money. It was great money.
Did it shock you guys the amount of money that you guys had come into?
I can't say some things in the public.
I heard that you could not eat for days. Was it true?
Was the money? So this is
no, compared to what you were already earning from all this
for
hard work that you were doing.
Yes, but I worked hard for the campaign. I'm not. So I was not a political jobber. I was not a hustler. I was not in PDP or anything. I was doing my work. Do you understand? But this was a big client. Right. And the way they did it then was because of anti-corruption laws. So what they usually have, they will have rich people who would pay us for the work.
Right.
So I had like 2 billionaires in Nigeria. One of them is very popular. They were the ones that paid us for the work. Do you understand? So they would say, okay, this is the work, would invoice them, but they're like campaign contributors.
Do you think that you charged what you were worth at
because
the time?
Because of Debola, yes.
Debola had a big eye
yes.
for
we
money.
Paid what we were worth. We were paid what people would be paid. The maximum. Debola, it doesn't play with that. So we were paid.
Were you guys not scared that they might turn?
I was scared. Debola wasn't. Debola would rather take 0 than take less than he thinks the job deserves. Yeah. So yes, that was because of that. Because I was afraid. So that's the one. So I have some fear, like charging. So losing the opportunity was what I was afraid of. So I'll be afraid of if I charge them too much, they will go.
Because you'd have taken a pay cut just to have that on your CV.
I would have done it for free. I would have done it for free. I would have done any campaign I've done, I would have done it for free. That's how much I enjoy campaign work.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's how much I enjoy campaign work. So we did that. So that was a great job. I had fun. But we did it. I wasn't a Goodluck Jonathan fan. We were just doing a professional job. So we didn't even talk about it in public because you don't need to do your work, deliver it, and go on. And then I was invited to join the government. I said no. This was 2011 that he won, I think. You know me now. I was very irascible when I was younger. So after 1 year, I was very disappointed in the government. I was already writing articles against the government. So by 2012, I was already on the streets. So because of that, I now began to work for a lot of government agencies. Right. Red Media. So we were working for Konjo Iweala when she was Minister of Finance, working for Bolaji Abdullahi when he was Minister of Youth. And there's one more ministry I've forgotten. I was working for 3 ministries. I always tell people that I'm the one that the company, but I was the one physically because I was the one meeting them that created Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala's current Twitter account, Ministry of Finance current Twitter account, all those things. Because social media was just, and we're the experts.
Yes, at the time, yeah.
And so I had fun. Because it's the height of development and storytelling, yeah? But then I remember when I did Occupy Nigeria. So one of my clients said, you cannot join Occupy Nigeria because you are working for government. He said, you cannot use government money to fight government. So I quit the job. So we quit it. So we went off and said, we're not doing it.
We're not working with the government?
With that ministry.
Right.
Do you understand? Like, okay, but because I had to go on the protest. Now, protest bring me come here. Because even the Oronto that called me, told by saying me enough is enough Nigeria. So my soul, there was no way that people are going to be protesting on the streets.
That's you.
That I will not be home doing what? And, it's crazy when I think of it now. But there was a supreme confidence that the same way that they came, like, I just thought this was the right thing to do. And it wasn't even like I'm a principal, and I'm a principal person.
Right.
But it wasn't I'm a principal, it's just like, so what are you going to do for a house?
It's a no-brainer. This is what I'm going to do.
When my mates there for street, they protest against fuel subsidy. So it wasn't a difficult decision. So but then after a while, things stabilized, I think. Then, if you're talented, people will always find you.
Yeah.
So we went back doing some work. And so then Okonjo-Iweala is actually my auntie, like actual auntie.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
Yes. But the way I met Okonjo-Iweala was not because she was my auntie. I met her because I used to do a column for This Day called Sons and Daughters. And I used to interview the children of the rich and famous. That's how I met Shiri Tinubu for the first time. I interviewed him 19 years ago when his father was governor.
Sons and Daughters.
Yes.
Think of that.
Exactly. Sons and Daughters This Day. And so, what was I saying?
You met
Okonjo-Iweala. So I interviewed her son, Uzo Iweala, award-winning author, filmmaker. And she read the interview and she asked her media communication to call me. So, this is the best Nigerian interview I've ever read. Then I told her, by the way, you are actually my auntie. So it wasn't because of the family, because all the family were trying to reach her. But she was busy now, and my work bridged that gap. So that was powerful, yeah.
That's the thing about work. I keep saying the red group is making a lot of money.
Yes.
You guys are doing incredible things for young people.
Yeah.
At the time I met you, we were already on Forbes list. There was so much happening with you.
Yeah.
Depression.
Yeah. Oof.
Let me tell you, this part is for me. This conversation I'm about to have is for me.
Yeah.
I came across a Will Smith post, a podcast that he went on.
Okay.
He's like, as much as there's rock bottom, there's also clifftop. It says clifftop is where you get to a particular level where you have literally gotten there, but there's no satisfaction. So you're looking for things. You're looking for an anchor to hold yourself.
Right. Well, that's what it was. Oh, that's such a powerful...
So I don't think you hit rock bottom. You were at clifftop.
That's actually it. That's so...
And nothing...
Yes. Yeah. So, yes. So that actually did... So there's nothing to hold on to.
See, when he said it, I'm like, Will Smith, you see me.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
You can be at the top of your game.
Yeah.
I finally got seen you after all the struggle.
Yeah.
I feel you're even happier when you're in the struggle because you have hope.
Yeah.
So when you finally get you, I'm like, there's no satisfaction in all of this. How did you deal with that season? Because you said depression saved you.
Yes. So that my book is coming out in September. It's called How Depression Saved My Life. Yeah. So I'm not even talking about it now because we've said it.
Yes.
But that is the most important. Depression is the most important thing that has happened in my life.
Stop. But people, they die.
Yes, but so that's my experience.
I feel like it's a spiritual awakening.
So it is not a spiritual problem in the way that we say spiritual problem. We often say spiritual problem like demons are possessing you. No. Depression is is often a spiritual crisis, by which I mean a crisis of your inner life, how you see yourself, how you see the world. Your mind battling against itself. So I use spirit as a metaphor. You have dissociated from your core. Do you understand? That's how I call it. So it's a researcher at Columbia, I think, says depression is a knock on the door to a deeper spiritual experience. Yeah, she's very powerful. Yes, I think so. So I'm not saying it's a spiritual problem in the way that we say spiritual problem in Nigeria. There's a demon. It's not a demon.
Yes. It's like an unraveling.
It's an unraveling. It's a call. It's a call. It's a call.
So why don't people answer this call and do the work?
You don't. Have you been clinically depressed before? The call is a missed call. I can understand. It's pain. It's horrible.
You know, when I came to you now,
Yes.
I said, Chude, I'm on the floor.
Yes. I was here.
And this was, I can't say peak because I've not gotten to the peak of my career.
But you were at a place that
today I did.
Yes.
Podcast was happening.
Yes.
This is happening.
Yes.
This is happening.
Everything's
I get
popping.
cash. Which country are we going to? Let's
can
go.
there anytime.
What lifestyle? Which looks? But I was so down and sad.
Yes. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
One day, I tell my friend this story. See, for Belgium, and I use Belgium because I was touring Europe at the time. I come outside from my hotel for Belgium in the cold. I wear jacket. I did waka. I did pray. I did cry. I said, God, how have I gotten here with all the hard work and everything? And there's no peace. Like, there's something. You see that thing where you see there's a knock, like, I'm like, this is something that I know that I need to. I feel like there's a distance between me and the self that I want to be.
Yes, inside yourself, yeah.
So I'm like, God, this doesn't make sense because all my life I spent it working to get here.
Yes, and now
thinking that once I arrive here, I will have become
scam.
It's the worst thing. It's the most painful scam because I would not have worked this hard.
Yes, I often tell people
if I knew that this was not the result, here,
yes,
and my satisfaction is in the small things now.
Yes,
I not for work this hard.
Yes. It's like I was saying on my calendar. This is a very busy week. We're doing a lot of things. I carved out 4 hours of prayer, and I put in brackets, "Don't touch it," because I'm like, I did do concert. Then I will now finish the concert. I will now be sad.
Yeah,
I will be. So I fixed a boat cruise Friday. Do you understand? Then I fixed 3 things to give me joy this week. I'm going to take a walk around my estate. Yes. Because I'm like, no, we've been here before. We've tasted success now. We don't go severe for Aso Rock now. So
don't be this one into us.
But no, I will not do it. I will not do it. Many years ago, after I came out of depression, I think, was it?
Please take me to the story of how you
got
you entered the depression and the work that you did to come out.
Right.
So I need it for my audience.
You have to be prepared,
because a lot of people are depressed, I know.
You have to be prepared.
I see the messages.
Yes. People are depressed. Depression is a crisis now. Both non-clinical and clinical is a crisis. People are just, it's sad. So, cut a long story short, end of 2014. 2014 was my big year. This year you are describing.
Yeah.
Hashtag The Future was December 2013. Published my book, Are We the Turning Point Generation? Went viral. Forbes 30 under 30. CNBC Young Business Leader of the Year.
You were on fire.
African Business of the Year. We were nominated along with Dangote Group. I was on the cover of Rivista magazine in Italy. He did a reception for me in Milan. I was Fino, and others were brand ambassadors for Guinness. Went to shoot a promo in South Africa. I was balling. I did TEDx Houston, which is the biggest TEDx stage for African stories. I visited for my book tour. I was on CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, NPR, all these kinds of guys. I went to speak in 17 countries, I think, or something like that. On the high. Then we hosted the Future Awards, December 2014. Asha performed. D'banj performed. In the crowd was Governor Rotimi Amechi, Governor El-Rufai, Nasir El-Rufai, Governor Kaude Fayemi, presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari. Everybody was there. I think it was hosted by Osaz Igodera, I'm not sure, and somebody else. Dinola was on the red carpet. So, you know what I like of my life? The politicians did there, the musicians did there.
Everybody.
I love that. Everybody. Finished the Future Awards. Jade Oshiberu helped me work on the script for the event. So, high. This is 2014, yes. Finished, I was dating at the time a supermodel who I had been crushing on for 2 years.
Yes.
Great life.
Yes.
I finished the Future Awards. I enter into sadness. The next day. So we're supposed to go to one island for Christmas. Everything planned. I told her I can't go. I can't bear to see another airport. And she didn't understand. And now I know how she couldn't. Like, what are you talking about? Everything is going well. So I can't do it. So I cancelled. She didn't talk to me for a long time because of that. I canceled. I can't physically do it. So I checked into Intercontinental Hotel. At least the one thing I had was money.
Yes. You have the money.
You have the money.
You'll be suffering.
Yes. So I thought, what's the beautifulest hotel in this Lagos? At the time,
at the time, you also think that it will help.
It will help. That was the idea. And I thought Intercontinental.
That's why I spend my money traveling everywhere. I said, at least if I go to these countries, I felt worse.
The problem is that when we travel, we carry ourselves. So somebody said the quote, wherever you go, there you are. So why would you think, if the thing that worries you is inside you, why do you think a change of location?
If you cannot find joy here,
you can't find it anywhere.
You can find saved my money.
Yes, but it's good you learn so it will not happen again.
Yeah. So when I travel, I don't travel for all of that.
Yes.
I travel for me.
That's it. I don't go to mountains. I don't have a happy place outside of myself. So I learned that the hard way. So went into Intercontinental, locked out. Then I entered. I didn't even want to go. I locked all the curtains.
Yes.
So I wrote down in my diary, and I detailed it in more detail in my book. I want to start a journey to joy. Anyway, fast forward. 2015, and you are familiar with a part of this story.
Mm-hmm.
Fell in love, broke up with that person because I thought that was not the solution. I thought I could be happier.
Right.
Fell in love. Thought by another dream come true. So I went from one dream come true to another dream come true. Fell in love. Then this time I was broken up with. Then I entered depression for the first time. Yeah. So I came back. So that's when somebody recommended therapy. But it wasn't like clinical depression.
Yes.
There's a difference. It's depression.
Yes,
like you are
I know.
sad.
Yeah.
So I saw a therapist. I think her diagnosis was loneliness. I didn't know that loneliness could be a diagnosis.
Yes.
Chronic loneliness.
Yeah.
So she said I should stop doing relationship for 1 year. Like I need to meet myself. Stop relationship. So I did it. So I said, okay, spend 1 month just with yourself and journal furiously. Just meet yourself, write lessons you've learned in your life, your weaknesses. Just be unafraid to meet yourself. Because in therapy, I'm not going to say this so people can buy the book. She uncovered a memory that was driving my behavior. It was a deep insecurity about myself that was affecting my ability to see myself being loved. And that was making me pursue the most beautiful things around or people or whatever. So we identified. They said, it's that memory. So people will read chapter 1, they will see it that led to this. She said, you have to fall in love with yourself, which is so hard. I said, okay. So I said, okay, I'll do a tour. So I planned a tour. So I thought, she said, spend a month, but I said, I would die of loneliness. So I planned a trip. I went to Miami. I went to Los Angeles. I went to London. I went to Hawaii. I went to Mexico City. Under a 1-month period, I was sad in all of them. In fact, I remember that I tweeted from then. I mean, that Okwo replied, not knowing, she knew what was going on. I said, how can you be in the midst of so much beauty and feel so alone? I tweeted it because I was in Hawaii. I was in front of the beach. Those beach fronts. Hawaii is stunning. People are laughing around you, are eating the best food. I was deeply sad.
But sorry to cut you. This loneliness is not that there were no people around you.
No, that people are around you. You feel that they don't understand. You are disconnected from yourself and from them. Oh, yes. It's an emotional situation. It's like when somebody says they are depressed, maybe a Kardashian says they are depressed, people say it's a first world problem. No, your mind does not know the difference between first world and third world problems.
It's a disconnect.
Abraham Lincoln had depression. He was the president of America. Okay, is it first world problem? Elijah was depressed. People were crying droplets of blood in the Bible.
So this is a natural human.
It's a normal spectrum of human emotion. Your inner reality has nothing to do with your outer reality. Now, you can align them, but they are separate. You have to align them. So, people don't know.
Yes.
They don't know.
Right.
So they're not saying it from a wicked place. They don't know. So yes, I'm literally in this beautiful place. I have money. Money. But I was sad. So I came back. But that was when my deliverance started. Because I was writing furiously my greatest fears. I still have my greatest fears, my greatest insecurities. Why am I insecure? Etc. I was furious. It was like an exorcism. I was discovering myself. So by the time I came back to Nigeria, I felt lighter.
Mm.
Then 2016 happened. 2016, a lot of things happened. First of all, there was the Buhari campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I was very disappointed by it. So people don't know. That's why I left. That's why I stopped doing politics,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to have a lot of courage to bring emotions into the political space. And I did that thing with my heart, but I'm going to stop there before people think I'm trying to defend myself.
Right.
And I was heartbroken by how that turned out. But that
yeah.
was just one.
Yeah.
I was also exhausted. So the whole company we had built a company that was a media company that could use narratives to help change national situations.
Yes.
And now we've achieved it.
Yeah.
I was 30 and I felt empty. So I felt empty. Like, what are we doing with this? Then, so by the time we were hired by the successful Ghanaian presidential campaign,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm not doing. Debola had to force me to go and visit the president of Ghana. Because I'm like, I'm not impressed.
Here.
Nothing. So as the Red Media was growing, I was tired. Yeah, tired, spiritually tired. And so January, I sent in my resignation letter to the board. Biola Labi was on the board
Of Red.
Of Red, and said, I cannot do this anymore, but it's not going to take effect immediately. It's going to take 2 years. And I submitted a succession plan. Luckily, by that time, I had known that I was going to hand over leadership of Red Media.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to do it when I was 40.
Right.
So I thought I didn't want to run the business for forever.
Yeah.
But so by that time, Debola and I had begun to form close relationships with 3 people who had done succession planning. Shegun Agbaje, who is now the Group MD of GT Bank. Biodun Shobanjo, who is the founder of Insight.
Mm-hmm.
And Ndidi Wonele, founder of Leap Africa. And I'd read every Nigerian book about succession planning. Because there were no companies in Nigeria that had handed over to...
Click, yeah.
Yes. So I wanted to learn why. There must be a reason. So I was ready, but I thought it was going to happen when I was 40. So I used all the books I read, all the meetings, and developed a succession plan. Hand over to Debola, etc. But in the interim, I had to leave the company. So I took a break. I handed over to Debola. They went to teach at the Pan-Atlantic University for a couple of months. Taught media and communication. And then something happened. Suddenly, we had one of these big accounts. Yeah. All these big accounts in Ghana, Senegal. 3 at the point, Red Media was the PR agency to 3 banks, 3 of the top banks. But they were not spending. Contracts signed, no work. I've never seen such a thing before then, and I've not seen such a thing after then.
Like you guys
were hired.
Paid?
But they refused. No, they refused to start spending. So it's like you have a contract to start PR work, you are the agency.
Yes.
But we are not ready to start. January, we are not ready to start. February, we are not ready to start.
So they cannot disburse funds.
March, we cannot. So you cannot do anything. You not even have the funds. Now, in my business, I've always had 1 year's operational money in the accounts.
Yeah.
Because I don't owe salaries, all those, I don't do it. So I've always had 1 year. So we had never touched it because we've always been growing. That year, for the first time, we touched it. Immediately we touched our savings, my mind collapsed. Because of what happened? Yes.
It's like panic.
Panic.
Was
panic. I felt like the floor had opened. Because it's not, if I spend the money and I can see the new money coming,
there's hope.
There was no hope. So I could see the floor. Let me tell you what, one day, I was speaking at Wheat Baker for an event for Brand Zone, my auntie, Chizo Malize. And the current chairman of Access Bank was the Director General of the Nigerian Stock Exchange at the time, was founder. So we're all at the same stage. No, I was on the panel after his speech. So I was one of the speakers. And we're talking about surviving in a time of economic volatility. And I'm like, volatility.
Conferences.
I'm on the stage. I remember being on the stage, looking at the audience and thinking, so this is how my life is going to finish. And nobody here can help me.
I get it.
Yes.
I get it.
I'm just like, how can I? And then I was I was balling now,
Yes,
speaking
no.
at Redemption Camp,
Yeah.
Dominant Nation. What's it called? Spoke at the Daystar Leadership Conference. You know, somebody said, wait, I didn't know that you are the same Chude that spoke at the Daystar Leadership Conference. I'm like, I was balling front.
In terms of career, you're thriving.
Yes, but there was this. I'm just looking at this and thinking, how can I be facing a financial crisis when my brand is at the top? I remember that. So that's when I fell, and I had to go back to therapy. Then she diagnosed me with clinical depression. A few days after, yes, because I couldn't move out of the house. I couldn't do anything. I was looking into the future, but I wasn't seeing anything. Yeah.
And you're wondering if it's the same Chude that's here.
It is. What? So everything I'm doing is failing.
Yes.
Debola was different though. Debola didn't. His faith was unshakable in his own destiny. Unshakable.
Even with all that was going on.
Unshakable. But my mind collapsed.
Why do you internalize it so much?
I think two things. One, some of us are genetically predisposed to depression. So some people have, there's scientific research behind this. Some people have a genetic predisposition. So what would take somebody else longer to collapse into depression would take the person shorter. And Debola has that. So the people who have I said that in the book, that depression is a disease of perspective. So the way you see the world is contaminated.
Oh, Chude, you're preaching. Oh my goodness.
So Debola's perspective had not been contaminated.
Untainted.
Yes. So something about him, his genetic predisposition, I assume, gave him the ability to chest it. But I didn't have that. Because I'm a sensitive person.
Right.
I'm a choleric. If those things, a choleric, I think. Yeah. Debola is sanguine. Those characters. So I think that was what it was. So I fell into depression. Then at some point, I was so afraid of what I was going to do to myself. I moved to Debola's house. Because I needed the sun to shine on me.
Yeah.
My mother was coming every day to the house to just comfort me. She would bring food. I shared this. Yeah.
Because when you're at that level, Chude, and I think I wouldn't say mine was clinical because I've not been diagnosed, but I knew I was going through something. I'm slowly just coming out. So that's why this podcast is even back.
Right.
When I started this season, I told them what, I'm going to explain to you over time
what has
why I
happened.
was away. You see that thing where they're coming to give you food, everybody's looking out for you. I didn't have that because I could not even show that this was what was going on. But I would sit myself and be like, it felt like I was on the floor and I could not get up. Like, even in the midst, so I recorded 2 amazing seasons of Visa on Arrival in my most depressed states.
Really?
When we say cut,
yes,
I've gone back into my head. I'm like,
yes.
So every time I would see the clips after, I'm like, what are people talking about? When I was shooting this thing, I wanted God to just, I was looking for a way out. This was the only consistent work that I did in this time because I also had to earn. I also had to be relevant. So I was grappling with will I lose my career because I'm not working as hard? I might see the same Taymesan that got here. I'm like, Taymesan, how did you get to a point where you cannot even believe in yourself? I'm like,
you cannot even believe in yourself.
So everybody else was doing the believing for me. So when the season is out and they're gagging, I'm drawing from their energy. I'm like, okay, if you guys think, because why I'm mentally, I'm on the floor. That's why I said I go to church every day.
That's what happened with me too.
I know it was spiritual, but today,
no. This was
a battle.
Yes.
This was me talking to God. I'm like, God, how can you let me be in this mental state?
That's what I said as well.
I'm like, God, these are the things that you told me. So believing God has started becoming hard for me because how did I get here
if there was a God? I wrote it in my book. I woke up one morning and said, F God.
This is the first time I'm saying this thing. They're looking at me like, the fuck is going on? And I was still showing up.
Yeah.
But I would show up like I was working on 10% of my true self. I would turn down gigs. I would not shop in spaces. And I started to look for the most important things to me. The small things. So if I went to church on a Wednesday, I'll feel much better. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go next week Wednesday.
Yes.
If I had a phone call with one of my old friends and I laughed, I'm like, okay, I'll feel much better. Money was not anything for me because the money never added any extra
to this.
So when they're looking for me to do some work, I'm like, please, I beg, how much is okay? I'm not available.
Yeah.
So, and luckily for me, what happened was that around the time when we're moving to this place, it took a year to get. So if Sheyi had gotten this place earlier, would have fought because like, what's going on?
To do this.
But I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I remember the week I was going to start this podcast. This was me after I've gained some energy, I've gained some strength. I was in the car and I kept praying. I'm like, God, I don't know how to start a podcast again. Am I still going to be the same Taymesan that did this thing? I might, like, after 3 seasons of interviewing stars, would they accept my podcast? Would they? I'm like, hey, God, I've let it for too long. And you know, God is so merciful. Tenny calls me.
I think you told me the story, yes.
Tenny just said, are you okay? God told me to tell you that he's the one running this ship. You should step away. Because you can only be an imposter when you think it's you. But if you believe that it's God that's doing this thing, you will step out and let God do it. I said, Tenny, you don't know what you have done for me.
Yeah.
Because you were like, it had to be God. As I parked at the gym, my episode with Toke was the next day.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
The reason why I even called Toke because Toke was the only one that knew what I was going through in that season.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say, you know what, let's talk about our lives from a year ago. But when she spoke to me, I was like, okay, it's time to go. But to see that somebody who used to think of himself so highly can be on the floor like that to the point where you don't have enough strength to draw from, to do the work that you've been doing since, it's madness. Now, I only understand it with the benefit of hindsight that this was what you were going through. But at the time, I thought the career was over. I thought the career was over. I was grieving the loss of all the work that I'd done. I was feeling so bad for not being able to show up. And I felt like everything's happening and I'm stuck.
Yeah, yes.
Chude, for me to get to this point I'm talking about it, I didn't want to talk about it because I was embarrassed by it. Like the idea that I fell into that space. I can talk about it now because
Yes.
I came to you now.
Yes, I remember.
Remember when I came to you, she was like, I have to accept it. I'm like, Chude, you don't understand. I am dying. But thank you for that conversation.
Yes.
Because I remember that you had spoken to me about depression at the peak of your career at some point. So me coming to you was like, please, I hope you can see me.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I'm so glad that we had that conversation because fast forward, like the space and time between that conversation and now, there's been a lot of progress.
Yeah.
And I'm sharing this because there's so many people in this headspace that, I mean, we're just showing up, social media, everybody looks like they're having a great time. But when you sit down with my colleagues, we are going through it.
It's inevitable. Look, Taymesan, look. This 3 months of living, of being, me, for the past 5 years, I deliberately just focused on doing my show. These 4 months of photo shoots, new clothes, events, and parties has shown me why it is inevitable for people to fall into emotional crises.
Oh my God.
It is impossible for your mind to breathe if you're constantly performing.
Oh, where's my cash?
I'm telling you, thank you, received. I will collect it. I'm collecting this money.
Oh, Chude.
No, it is impossible. The performance.
Chude.
Yes.
You know me. Nobody's a performer than me. Got to a place where I couldn't.
Yeah.
I walk into my closet, I would look at my looks, my clothes. I didn't want to show up to anywhere. They were looking for me. 2023, that's when all of this started, right? I came back from London after one of those trips that I did to help myself. And I didn't step out the entire December. December will be my month. the only thing I was doing was going to church. I was looking for silence, the small things. I was looking for a safe space because the career had unraveled. Like, there's just too much going on. And I keep saying I was embarrassed by the fact that
it makes sense.
this life that has been given to you, then you not have people in your voice, in your ears telling you, what's up? What are you doing? Depression. So I had to stay away from people because they couldn't get it. Even the people in my house, I tried that when my brother watches this thing, he will get it. He couldn't get it.
I can understand completely. He can't get it. Even me, if I hadn't been depressed, I would not get it.
But you know that because there's a church part of me that refused to agree that this was probably depression.
Yeah, because the church teaches you that the joy of the Lord is your strength in a way that makes it seem as if the joy of the Lord is your constant. There's a way they preach these things. It's like when I read the Bible again during my depression and discovered John 16:33, in this life you will have trouble. You will. Why am I just discovering this in the Bible? But I've been going to church for a long time. They didn't teach me that I should expect trouble.
Yes.
That I should welcome trouble.
Yes.
They taught me that once you pray, the trouble goes. But which is ridiculous because Jesus prayed for this cup to pass over him.
But it didn't.
It didn't pass. Which is strange because there was David, the apple of God's eye, every morning, every night. My soul is dead. Save my life. I am
swear.
in pain.
David went through.
I am Samuel.
The Psalms.
The Psalms is all. It's a
cry for
journal
help.
of depression.
Jesus.
Moses, depression. Elijah. Abraham. Which part of the Bible did you read and Abraham laughed?
Actually.
No. It must be there. But
with all that he was promised to.
That is, do you know how many years of sorrow?
Let's break it down and then tell people to read the Bible contextually, right, today.
Let's talk about it. If you got pastors go begin fear me.
Yeah. No. You don't say you my personal idol. You my personal oracle when it comes to this Bible thing. When you break down the mental state that Abraham was,
yes.
When he was promised all of these things, and he's watching himself 60, 70,
exactly.
80.
What do you think was happening there? You think he was dancing? He was in pain.
Let's talk about Joseph. That was told that he would be the Oga of all his brothers.
Yes.
But your brother sold you.
Yes.
Where was God when all of that was happening?
Where was God?
When you finally got into a place where I'm like, okay, I'm not the head of Potiphar's household. At least peace. Let me return to peace now. Your wife threw you for jail. So when I think about the mental state that these people were in, that's why they had to call on God.
That's why they had to. And see this is when you there's a lens, there's an interpretative lens which you read the Bible, where you see the New Testament as the explanation of the Old Testament. Yeah? And that's the interpretation, that's the interpretative style of Bible that I align to. Now, God was always knocking on the door of these great men. That's why there's a part of the Bible where it says, and even they did not get the promise. So there's a sense in which God is like, not be when you get this, not when you get this thing, you go happy. Not when you get this power, you go happy. But I think that's what the Old Testament is there for. Because when we descend into the New Testament, we experience the utter joy and courage of John the Baptist. A voice crying in the wilderness and utterly having a blast. Having nothing. And I'm sure his hair was not combed.
Yeah.
Then you have Jesus. Jesus is one of the most joyful people you would ever meet. What did he have? What did Jesus have? No record of a house, not even a donkey, no wife, no child. So all of those things that we are taught are the things that will bring us joy. Jesus didn't have. What did Jesus have? Community. 12 people who were there with him at important moments of his life.
That's crazy.
A freeness of spirit. Forgiveness, the ease of forgiveness. There are things that are in Jesus' life that just track with the research about well-being. I'm like, there was something that the Bible is trying to show us about the life of Jesus. So anyway, because I don't want people to tell the Bible there's no happiness in the Bible. There was happiness. But they say the Old Testament is Jesus concealed and New Testament is Jesus revealed, all of that. But you see it. And there were glimpses of that. The Shunammite woman in the Old Testament, there are glimpses of joy.
Yeah.
You see, what we don't remember is that when Jacob was going to meet, was it Jacob? No. When Jacob was going to meet Esau, after Jacob had taken Esau's inheritance, go and read it. Jacob was the sad one, Esau was the happy one.
I remember.
Yes. So by the time Esau lost all the things that he thought was important, it appears that he could lift up. I wasn't there, but that's what it appears to me. So
there was no attachment anymore.
There wasn't. And it was easy for him to forgive his brother. Because it was traveling light.
Traveling
light.
So how did you finally
come out
of that?
There was no, it wasn't like this.
Yes. Yeah.
So I began to read the Bible again.
That's why
Yes.
I have to read the Bible to be sane these days.
Yeah, I had to read the Bible again. And I was reading a lot. I was reading a lot about joy.
Yeah.
And then I was praying a lot. But like I said, it wasn't the Father, Lord, eternal rock of
it's like, God,
ages.
if you don't come to my aid, they will disgrace me.
It was
I am losing it. Yeah.
So I discovered this Bible verse, Jeremiah 29:13. And you will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. So I know. That one is just for the intellectuals to leave me alone. But no, I know that I found God. And I was praying. That's when I learned that's when I realized the power of speaking in tongues. Because when I had no words.
It was that. Today, there were nights where all I could do was run. That's when I started running a lot.
Right, yes.
In my ears, my spirit is heavy, but I'm a rock.
Yes, that's it.
When I finished that, I feel like peace. So I started doing that a lot. Because I'm looking for peace, different.
That's what happened. And I began to learn a number of things, gratitude journaling. Speaking in tongues turned out to be a meditative practice. The research, it's called glossolia in some terms. So I began to learn all these things. I began to slow down my spirit. I began to take long walks, around my area. So I began to. So there was punctures in the darkness, rays of light in the darkness. Then one day I was praying, and I heard, "Go and talk to Fela Durotoye." And I'm like, I love Fela a lot.
But I don't want to have this conversation.
I'm just like, Fela will inspire me, will motivate me. He has the right words. I don't need this. So I was negotiating with the voice I was hearing. I said, can I go and do Pastor Sam Adeyemi with my pastor now?
You feel safer there.
And I've not safer. I felt like, because what I was facing was, the trigger was a business problem. I thought, let me go and talk to people that do success power. All those things.
Just compound. Oh.
Yes. So I did that. I said, no, go and talk to her. I said, okay. Can I go and talk to Tara Durotoye? She's actually my business mentor. No, talk to Tara Durotoye. So I called my best friend, Francesca. This is what I heard in prayer this morning. You can't talk to Fela. But I'm sure my brain must be playing tricks on me because you can't say you're going to talk to Fela Durotoye. You can't talk to Fela Durotoye now. Say she will go with me. Say, what's the worst that can happen? So I went to Fela Durotoye. And then he was talking to me. So I asked him, I said, and I document this in more detail in my book. I said, why is God making this happen to me? I said, if I was in jail for my political convictions, I would understand. It has a reason. But this pain is just pointless. And Fela Durotoye gave me the most powerful answer anybody can give you. I don't know. And as a church boy, because Fela Durotoye is a pastor at House on the Rock, as a church boy, I'm not used to hearing I don't know from pastors.
Yes.
But what Fela didn't know is that by that time, I had read 4 books on atheism, the Australian Book of Atheism, God is Not Great, Why Atheism is True. I'd read some of those books. And I was already about to drift away from my faith. I was ready for bullshit from the pulpit. Ready. So my antennas were high. So I was just waiting to hear.
You're just waiting for the trigger.
I was waiting to hear the joy of the Lord is your strength. Do you understand? Let me know that we wasted our time coming here. So I don't know. That floods me. So he had immediate credibility in my eyes. Because I know that whatever he tells me is going to be the truth. There's not going to be any religious manipulation here. But they said, but this is what I know. God is telling me. They said, oh, Chude, I'm having goosebumps. God is telling me that this experience will change your life so much. They all said, oh, Chude, I'm coming. I need to. He ran upstairs. Came back with a piece of paper and a biro. Now, in my book, this is the only diagram in my book. I had to put it in. And drew me a diagram like this. And drew me a diagram like this. And said, what you are going through is the valley of the shadow of death. Says, it is not death. It is the shadow of death. So, remember and say, this is what God is trying to do with you. You're supposed to get here. Now, to get here, you are supposed to climb this mountain and come, but the distance is too long. God wants to shorten the journey for you. So God is letting you pass through the valley. Now, you need to understand.
No, don't worry.
That before that time, I was so broke. I was so in my mind, broke in my mind. Because in reality, I wasn't. I learned later how to keep perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That Jeffrey, who we know, one of my ex-staff, had to send me 100K one day. So when I'm saying this thing, instead of saying this thing, it makes no sense. Because I'm like, but I was already succeeding before. Why does God need... I send God message. Why are you telling me?
Why did you bring me here?
Why did you bring me here? Like, what's all this rubbish? I'm telling you, I was very angry with God, though. Forget my conversations with God. And I was very honest. That's why I don't fear God. Some people say the fear of God. And I'm like, first of all, let's go and look.
That's my father, relax.
We have to go to different translations. We have to do Hebrew. We have to do Greek. We have to do, but I don't fear God. I'm not afraid of God. Me and God are cool.
We're good. We're guys.
Good. We're good.
Yeah.
So when people say, but you have to fear your father, I say, okay, I'm not, it's not, I've left the father.
You have daddy issues. Yes. That's why you're like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, he's both father, he's friend to the friendless, he's husband to the widow. He is, there's so many parts of God. So the part where I don't hold now,
not friend
to the friendless. The Bible, the Igbo language is better. It says one no to one year. That is the friend of the desolates. And the Bible is
I want to buy that book.
Yes. You have look, when I finished writing that book, my own book that I wrote, I said, this book is going to change lives. So when publisher was supposed to release it early, I looked at it, I said, no, this book is too special. Let's spend time editing it. Don't rush. When it comes, we're supposed to launch it at this event.
Right.
So we're rushing production. When I saw it, I said, no, go, let us edit. Let's take time. This book will change lives. I know it. So anyway, fast forward the story. Fela Joto says this to me, immediately, depression lifts.
You could feel the heaviness.
It was suddenly, this is what they say about depression, suddenly my pain had a meaning. Suddenly my pain had a meaning. Now that I know the research, I know what happened. So, the Bible says, and you shall receive power after the Holy Spirit has come upon you. That was what happened. Same situation, nothing had changed in my life. Just heard a word. And when I went back to the car, Fajisa said, this is the first time you've smiled in a long time. That's when the real healing accelerated. And nothing about my circumstance had changed. And I thank God for that. Because if something about my circumstance had changed, I would have thought that it was that thing that healed me. Nothing. That's how.
So Joy Inc. was obviously birthed from
there, yes. Because I wanted to teach the things I was learning. And many of the things, because I started therapy, my therapist after a month told me that she didn't think I needed therapy, that she thought I could continue this journey by myself. So the things I used to bring myself out of the depression were self-help, what science calls self-help tools.
Yeah.
So I just thought, how can all these things be available and people are just suffering for nothing?
Yes. Yeah, there's books, there's stuff.
So I wanted to go and share. This is what the gospel is. I wanted to share the good news. When Jesus would heal people, they would be saying, the ones that would be shouting.
Be running around.
Because they can't believe it. I was reading what I wrote when I was depressed. I wrote it in my book. I can't believe that I was ever there. I can't believe it. And let me tell you, I have faced, after that, because if you keep moving in life, you will keep facing bigger trouble sometimes. Yes. I have faced trouble that scattered that. So when I came in 2019, Red was having, in 2019, Red was having a financial issue.
Yeah.
So Doyin and Viola come to me with books. Say, oh, CFO and his guy. I said, we'll be fine. I said, we'll just cut off this, cut off that, cut off this, and we'll keep moving. I was unfazed.
Yes.
Because I'm like your father.
Yes. I've been like
your father, Satan, your father
my
problem.
goodness.
So because of 2016, I mean, we're still in this life. We're still learning. That's one of the things, one of the challenges pastors have. They have to project an image of invulnerability, of perfection. That's why they are hiding to go to hospital. That's why, and I will say it. That's why they are hiding. It's important to say this, not because I'm not a flamethrower, but there are people who are in bondage because they think that Christianity is about invulnerability. So no, that's why, because pastors have to project this. No, so maybe tomorrow I'm going to learn something else. Maybe God is taking me through a new process. I don't know. I've not figured it out. I'm just 40. But I learned lessons from that one that have kept me through.
That's so profound.
Yeah.
I feel so seen from this conversation. Like, I feel seen.
I'm glad.
with Chude,
Yes.
obviously, that's one of the conversations that I wanted to have. Like, with Chude was a project that you started after the depression.
Yes.
And you had the most amazing conversations that way. I think that with Chude has so much influence on TV Tape because I really go there. And for the first, I was the production manager on with Chude.
Yes.
The first production manager. We sat down to craft that show.
Yes, we did.
But one of the things that was so profound about your show was that you were not doing the small talk. I wanted to do TV production. I don't know why. Should go bring people here?
Heavy.
They would cry.
Yes.
I'm like, what's going on? Please, we're here for love and light. Even Otuba was like, what's all this?
Yes.
Let's just do a production.
Yes.
But producing that show made me understand that these are the conversations that are important. And now I'm happy that it's gaining the light of day. You're having a live event.
Yes, on the 27th of April.
On the 27th of April. But at the time when you started doing it, wasn't popular here. In fact, nobody had that template.
Nobody had that template. Yeah. It was nobody. And that's why I didn't release it for 2 years. Remember, we shot in 2018.
Yes.
And I thought Nigerians want skits. That's what I thought. So people were begging me. Remy, everybody. Uche Pedro sent you a message. People were begging me to release the show. And I'm like, Nigerians don't want it. It's too deep.
Yes, it's too much.
They want to laugh. They want to play. Let me just keep it for myself. It's too special. Yeah. So it created a template. And I'm always, because as you know, I'm one of the people that likes to celebrate other people. So when I say it's not because I feel like I'm better than anybody, but we truly created a movement.
Right.
People suddenly realized that we could have these vulnerable conversations.
Yes.
Even those that have taken it, there's a show that people always talk about is controversial. I don't want to call its name. But I'm saying, even that they can talk about those taboo topics in the way they can, it wasn't the situation in 2019.
Yes. It was about the shoes, the bag.
Let's do game show. Let's do
keep
games.
it light and cute.
Have I ever, whatever it is. And there's nothing wrong with those. This life is not
also
just
has its value, entertainment value.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But if you ask me, this is the show.
Yes. So I didn't expect with Chude to succeed.
Really? Really? I've never, and I say this everywhere, that I've never met anybody who I know that can, at least in Nigeria here, so because the other people who I'm inspired by abroad, who can hold the conversation down. I've been talking to you for over an hour now. They do like this for that side, I know they answer them.
We apologize.
You are so when people say, oh, Taymesan, you're so great, I'm like, there's one greater than, when the Bible says there's one greater than me that's coming. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So by the time I was a production manager, I started getting into the books, the people that would come, the kind of questions. And I just realized that this level of depth is what also TV is going to. Also because a lot of us are struggling with mental health, depression, different things.
That's it.
I feel like the new generation...
Yes. Long-form journalism is back. It's just not back. People are looking. Look at how many hours Stephen Bartlett does.
And people are consuming it.
Consuming the Lex Friedman, how many hours he does. Lewis Howes, how many hours he does. Joe Rogan, let's leave Joe Rogan first. But People all across the world. There's this guy in Kenya called Obina. He's doing hours. That's the new, because people need wisdom.
Yes.
People,
to navigate this hard life.
Let me tell you, I feel a lot of compassion when I watch things. When I watch things, I can't say a lot. There are things we can't say in public. But I watch things and I feel empathy and pity. Some young people, I look at what they do and I understand. But like that way you are going, it's going to leave you drained, spiritually, emotionally.
Drained.
Those people are not your friends. They don't love you. They don't care about you. Even if they can collect the money they sprayed on you, they will collect it back. You cannot depend on them. So people be like, so I'm from my new community because you watched Pose or whatever it is that you watch. You better go back to your mother.
Yes.
You better go back to your father and stay in that imperfect relationship that will hold you when the people say, yes, slay. Let's not show in public, please. I'm telling you, and there's nothing wrong with those sometimes. I mean, sometimes they're dysfunctional families, so I don't want to be.
But even in those dysfunctional settings, right? You also have to be able to create the family.
You have to.
It's like you don't have father and extended siblings like that, but you created your own family.
Yes.
So if it was in your own case, going back would be going back to Debola.
Yes.
Going back to Francesca.
Yes. So be deliberate in creating the garden.
Chude, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I started just removing myself slowly.
Yeah.
My best friend in London, that's the person I'm calling every time now.
Exactly.
Iben said, this is the best year our relationship has been. I'm like, you don't understand. I have tasted, according to my granny, I don't carry water, I don't carry oil. I know which will heavy pass.
Yes.
And so now I'm beginning to see the things I used to do and what people are doing. And I was like,
it's not linear.
And get there. But it's also good for them to experience.
Well, it is good if they can take the lesson from it.
Fair enough.
Because there's a way in which sadness has its own momentum. You do more, thinking that you can outrun it. So there's a way. And because I've been there, I had an ex-girlfriend. She said, and she gave me the most beautiful birthday gift for my season. And she said, one day she was unhappy with her work. She said she was going to go to abroad and work. I'm like, that's not the solution to this thing. She said, no, Nigeria. I'm like, I couldn't even, because I've been there. I've been stubborn. She called me and said, this is the most, when she was in that country, high flank, this is the most miserable she has ever been. I said, well, all of us are God's children. We're all making the same mistake. So I won't condemn you. I won't judge you. I just be like, I wish I can, that's why I do my show. That's why I do the work. That's why I'm talking here. I want as many people as don't need to go through avoidable crisis. The problem we can avoid, let's avoid.
Yes.
Because there's other problem coming.
Yeah.
So unhappiness that we can avoid, let's avoid it. Not everybody, I don't believe that everybody has to learn through deep sadness. I think that most of us do, but there's some people that learn by observation. There's some people that learn by... So, I don't know, we're all learning in this world, but yeah.
So you see what you're saying there about wisdom and this conversation that we've had. A lot of people need to have it.
They need to.
Why is that what you're doing with Chude's life?
Yes.
Why is this show important?
This is it. I think that with Chude, it's important to the culture. I might be deluded. I don't think I am. I think that there's so much noise. We need signal. There's so much talk. We need wisdom. I want to do it in a non-preachy way. Non-preachy when I feel like God has taken me through some unique experiences that helps my ability to mediate people's stories. So that non-judgment that they're talking about, I want it the hard way. When I can sit down with a Bobrisky and have no modicum of judgment
at all,
it's because God has cooked me. God has cooked me. So it's not a performance. I honestly am looking at Bobrisky spirit to spirit. Not all these things you people are seeing.
Yes.
So say you called her she. I'm like, that's the list of the things that I'm seeing here. That one is easy. She, Z, V, whatever it is. I'm connecting with Bobrisky's spirit to spirit. And one of the interviews I did, J Boogie. It's not with J Boogie. I felt so much connection with J Boogie because the things that make J Boogie who J Boogie is.
Yes.
And I used to have an auntie, mentor in the media, Nona Demora, saying, if you face the exact same situations that people face, we'll end up in the exact same place that they ended up.
Or even worse.
Yes. So my non-judgment comes from my life. So I'm like, I stand with a grace. And it's also good. So I'm happy that I'm also a religious person. So I'm not a go away from God. No, God prepared me, I think, for a moment in time. You know, with a different mission. Because you know that I did preach for church now.
Yes.
There's a reason why I stopped. So there's a mission. Everything is not on the church. Let people hear. Let them feel seen, heard. Let them feel a deep connection. Let them rest. That's so sometimes that's why when people say, some lady that I interviewed, you even called her before we came here. And she says things so beautiful, but I realized that she was very uncomfortable with vulnerability. So even the one way she talked, when she finished, said, "Oh, I've said a lot." And
that's what they usually say when they come here.
I'm like, "What did you say? Have you seen vulnerability before?" But I understood. So when I did the promo, I thought her life was so inspiring. So when I edited the promo, I said, everybody said, "This is so, I've never seen her like this." I said, daughter of a single mother, all of that. Then my people say they got a long nail. Single mother is reducing my mother. I'm just like, how can single mother be reducing your mother? But that's what you say. You tell me your mother is your general. Like, and why do you think that this reality of your mother reduces her? That's powerful.
Yes.
I stepped it down. I have 34 interviews that I've stepped down. Because I'm like, I didn't come to do this for clout. They don't know. That's why they come in.
So Chude, when people come here, and there's one particular person that came here and had an issue with another person, and the next thing I was trying to do was to say, we don't do that here.
We don't do that.
Here is for honest conversation.
Yes.
It's for conversations that can inspire people.
Yes.
If you want that, I know where to send you.
Yes.
But here,
and
also, it might be a slow burn, right? But the audience, navigates.
Let me tell you.
When I looked at my back end.
Yes. I don't worry about what's happening on the front end anymore. No.
What's going on?
Yes, the audience.
People who are inspired by these conversations.
Audience can smell wisdom. They can smell. YouTube is podcasts are a fantastic search medium. Because you wonder on Spotify, for instance, how do people find this conversation? That means somebody was listening, then they recommend it.
So
you are like, you have to listen. It's beautiful. So yes, I think that it's such a great time to be. I'm so grateful. And that's why this with Chude Live, I'm so grateful to one that is happening in my lifetime in Nigeria, and that I'm the one. So what I want is, I want you to see Chimamanda on a big stage being vulnerable.
Right.
I want to see Funke Akindele being honest.
Right.
I know the difference between a podcast, a concert's a different thing. It's like the difference between a Davido concert and a Davido track.
Right.
That I listen to on Apple Music.
The experience is different.
It's different. That one hits you.
Yeah.
I want people to see vulnerability blown up
close.
Yes. I want them to feel the energy I feel when I have goosebumps. When I'm crying, the guest is crying. I want this culture. I have empathy with. I know why people gossip. Nigeria is hard. But you know, until I say with Chude, there's always gist now. If you want to gist, there's gist.
Yes.
But the energy of the gist is different. The same gist, but the energy is different. So
their disposition to you even giving you the gist is different.
That's what I would say they don't do it in journalism. I've never seen anybody do it in journalism. I'm like, ask them, I say, you don't have to answer. Do you know what I say? You don't have to. I say it on the show.
Like, I'm not trying to be funny. When guests come here, I'm like, what are off limits? What are the things that are off limits?
Yes.
So immediately become comfortable.
Yes.
There's a guest that came here like this.
Yes.
I just said, my sister, we're not going there. What are off limits? She actually mentioned the things that are off limits. Right. My kids, my this, my... I said, okay.
That's it.
When she started talking, I made the beggar.
Yes, that's what happened.
Because she felt comfortable.
That's it.
That's the connection that we're all looking for.
That's all we're looking for.
That we mask as.
That we mask as tough guy. I don't need anybody. There's nobody that doesn't need anybody. You know, hard guy, but you are in the club. What are you doing in the club if you're not looking for connection?
What more start this talk? We need to go. If we start this talk, oh my God, please, I need to, and we need to come back and do another episode because I know that this episode is going to be amazing, right? But I'm looking forward to.
Yes, people should go and register.
Yeah, please, guys, register.
Look, there's going to be event of Chude.com. It's going to be a beautiful event.
Yeah.
There's
The
many of
lineup
the
is
friends are there now.
amazing.
Funke Akindele,
Yeah,
Chimamanda,
Bobby,
Bovi Boma, Pastor the
Jerry.
bad guy, Pastor Jerry Eze.
Yeah.
We just announced Tenny Makanaki yesterday.
Oh, she's amazing.
Ruth Kadiri, Vicky James, Taoma, Kiki, Ebuka.
It's a lineup.
Yes.
That's a lineup.
And then Moses Bliss. When last did you see a Moses Bliss interview?
It doesn't even do interviews.
So they've honored me
Right.
because they trust the show.
Yeah.
It's going to be a life-changing experience. So people should register on event. Let's make it, because when I'm looking for, the plans you have for TVT.
Yeah.
I feel I was talking to someone, I said, when this happens, then we're going to have more like this.
Yes.
And
yes.
we need it.
Yes.
Not only dance, not only rave. Raves are great.
They're great.
They're great.
But we need
to balance
it.
And so I want this to be in the culture to inspire a different type of movement.
I'm looking forward to it. I know I'm rooting for you. I know that's going to be excellent. Guys, I trust Chude. I trust him so much that this is going to be an amazing life event. So guys, register. The link will be on the screen, or details for you to register. I know you can, even if you don't need it, tell your friend.
Yes.
Other people need it.
Other people need it. And I'm like, if you just want to come and meet, we carry posted to your lover. I say, don't feel I want to meet you, can come and meet me.
Yes.
So I'm like, in addition to that.
Was it free though?
No, how can it be free? How can it be free? God did not send me to do. It's not free, because when they go to buy, I don't know how much a bottle of fake wine is in the club.
And they're dying from
they're dying from pay for. That's why pay for it.
Actually, how do we get? I wish you had told me earlier. How do we do these ads through the clubs? Because the people in the clubs need it more.
Yes, but let's do this one first. There's people that we don't need to convince too much.
Yeah.
Let us ones come. Then when they come, they will not send the message. When we now do the next one, those ones will come. Do you understand?
Love it. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Chude, for coming. Oh my God, this was an amazing conversation. High five. Oh my God, I'm so happy that we did this.
Yes, I'm glad.
Okay, so guys, that's it for today. Enjoy this podcast. Please register for Chude Live with Chude Live. I mean, you're going to have a great time. Kisses.